Hello adventurer, welcome to SCARTHQUEST. Today is day 1 of starting our new series, C programming in Take from Zero series. So let's start. It doesn't understand our human language. It only understands being drawn on and off. But that is a huge problem because we need to be able to communicate with the computer to give instruction to it. How do we solve this problem, you may ask? Basically assigning 0 to the off and 1 to the on. But that doesn't solve our problem. How does it solve our problem? Basically, 0 and 1 or a binary is used in a sorted way to give instruction to the computer. This is called a basic level language or a programming language. A programming language is used to give instruction to the computer. It's like a language of a computer that computer understand and execute the program. The programming language is divided into high-level language and low-level language. Low-level language, machine-level language false. The machine-level language is basically made of 0 and 1. And the another one is assembly language. And the machine-level language is closest to the computer. A computer understands the machine-level language and execute it. We divide the programming language into two parts, into low-level language and high-level language, because low-level language gives instruction to the computer directly, whereas the high-level language like C gives instruction to the computer through a compiler. So from here, I hope you understand what a programming language is. Now let's understand the difference between a low-level language and a high-level language. Low-level language is a language that is directly connected to the computer, or it gives instruction to the computer directly or to the hardware directly, whereas a high-level language needs a thing called compiler. We will understand what this compiler is later on. So for example, let's say I type apple. I need to type apple. A machine-level language can directly tell a hardware what to do, but a high-level language cannot do that. So for example, in here, machine-level language. The machine-level language is made of bunch of 0 and 1. Yes, it gives instruction to the computer directly, but it is made of bunch of 0 and 1, which is very hard to read. Imagine typing a basic instruction to the computer using 0 and 1. It's a nightmare. That's why we use high-level language. High-level language is a language that basically uses a human language to give instruction to the computer using things like function, the syntax or structure, array and stuff like that to give instruction to the computer. High-level language is a language that us human can write and understand better than low-level language, but that comes to the cost. A computer doesn't understand the concept like if, else, or concept like function or stuff like that. A computer doesn't understand that. That's why it needs a thing called a compiler to be able to computer to understand it. What is a compiler, you may ask? A compiler is like a translator. It translates our high-level language C, which computer doesn't understand, into machine-level language, the low-level language, so which computer understand. So that's why it is called high-level language, a language that a human can understand. So I will tell you how a compiler does its tasks, or what's the use of a compiler. So as we have said, a compiler is like a translator. It translates the high-level language into a machine-level language, which then on goes to do the tasks. First of all, let's say in our programming language, we want to print or get apple in our monitor. So first of all, we type the instruction which is print of apple in the screen. Here comes the part of our compiler. Our computer doesn't understand the concept of print of apple. It only understands machine-level language. So it runs this instruction into a machine-level language. A compiler turns this into a machine-level language. So bunch of 001. Then it is executed. Then 0 and 001 is executed and it tells the within what happens is it tells the machine level language tells the CPU or the monitor to get the output apple in the screen. Most people confuse that uh, most people confuse that C programming in C. First of all, C programming gives instruction, or we type instruction in C programming. It compiler is used and it translates to machine level language. Then it does the task, and we again it is translated using compiler. But that's wrong. What happens is first of all we type instruction in C, which is printf apple. They compile, then only compiler turns the instruction into machine level language. After that is that only machine level language tells computer what to do. Up to the compiler, what compiler does is it just it just convert it into machine level language, and machine level language does all the tasks of all the tasks of displaying the instruction or doing the instruction. We don't need compiler again to again translate apple. So basically first of all we type the instruction, compiler translate it to basic level language, the machine level language sees okay, it is telling the 001 is telling me to display the apple. Then it tells the machine level language sees the instruction and tells the monitor to show the apple in this monitor. That's what happens inside the computer. As we have said, low level language directly tells what computer to do. So if it were we had to write the print apple into the monitor using machine level language, what will happen is we write the language machine language, it directly prints apple in the screen. We don't compiler, we need dot, it doesn't need to translate it again and again. It basically translates apple directly. So when we using high level language, the one step we are adding is that using compiler to translate into machine language, and machine level language turns that into does our tasks basically. So in summary, I'm sorry if it's confusing. First of all, we type the instruction in C, then C or any other language. Then compiler does the tasks of turning it into machine level language, and machine level language and computer see the machine level language and sees the instruction and does the tasks. That's it. That's it. I hope you understand. So a fun fact: computer a compiler, for most people are confused like what is a compiler and stuff like that. As we have said, a compiler is a translator. So compiler was first made by the human using 0 and 1. So a bunch of engineers use 0 and 1 to like basically make the compiler. So it is a coded program, like it is like a big coded program. Imagine coding or coding using 0 and 1, it must be a headache. And imagine making the compiler, what of a genius they are. Like it's really a crazy thing to think about it. So back then, just like us, imagine coding Z and 1, they were fed up with coding with Z and 1, so they made the compiler, or they coded the compiler using the machine level language or other language to make the compiler and be able to code much easier. That's it. I hope you understand what compiler is, what it does, what is a low level language, what is machine level language, and what part they play. Now let's understand about C language. Up to now we understood that a computer doesn't understand our human language. It only we use the 0 and 1. Then 0 and 1 or the low machine level language is used to give the instruction. It is hard to understand the machine level language, so we use high level language to basically translate to be able to understand the code better and write the code better. But it needs to be translated to machine level language. Then again, then only it does the instruction. Up to now, that's the summary of what we read. But let's understand about C language. C language, in my opinion, is one of the most important language, as it was very old type of programming, which is still used, and many languages you see today is based on the C language, and it is one of the hardest but one of the most important programming language. So why it is important, what's the use of C programming? So C programming is used to make different stuff. It is used for making operating system. You may have heard of Unix, Linux. It is made using C programming. So we can make different application, very high application. It is also made in some part of making games. So it is like a system oriented. It is a system oriented type of programming language is used to do very complex tasks. It is one of the most used programming language, one of the most important programming language. So uh, we'll be learning about the basic of the C programming, on how to code how to code in using C language, or how to code in C in our next video. So I hope to meet you in next video. Bye bye.